Thank you for joining us today on PathMonk Presents. Today with me, I have a very interesting guest joining us all the way from Italy. Please welcome Marco de Rossi, who is the CEO and founder of WeSchool. So for those of you who don't know, WeSchool is a learning platform that is empowering not only educators, but also students to be more inclusive, collaborative, and engaging way of learning. They are an Italian edtech startup and focus mainly on the education realm. Marco, it's an honor to have you join us today on PathMonk Presents.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. So for all of our listeners out there, what does your company do? Who are you guys?
Yes. The nice thing is that we're not just Italian anymore. We are 70 people around Europe. Many of us are in Spain,
Amazing.
Poland, many countries. And our goal is to reinvent how digital learning works, making that by far more engaging. So our enemy is e-learning, how it has been done up to now, which is just going through videos. And we have a different approach. Our product enables you, instructors, anybody to create communities where you learn because you are doing stuff with other people. Of course, you're seeing content, but it's definitely related to cooperative learning and being very hands-on in learning. So it's about learning together. You don't feel alone in front of a screen. So our goal is to make the technologies that enable this.
Sweet. That's amazing. I love how it's very inclusive, to being able to make learning more easy, more accessible, for any of its users. So then who are your clients then? Do you cater to different industries or who do you mainly focus on overall?
Sure. So our clients are companies that really cares about learning. So companies that not just need to deliver mandatory training where employees can just click next. So we're not interested in that. We're focused on companies that want to deliver learning because this can have a huge impact on their revenues. So if I'm running a retail business and I want the people in my retail network to really be trained to sell tomorrow, I need a learning community where men can be trained in an effective way and where measurement can make the difference. Or if I have a sales force, and that's true for, I think, the majority of companies, same. If I need to do onboarding with greater resignation, especially for young talents, what happens in terms of onboarding and is crucial. And onboarding needs to happen in a learning related way in communities. And so we also work a lot on onboarding. And the last use case regarding what's our client that I want to mention is companies that want to have an impact on the citizenship and on schools. They can also use our platform to reach out to students and share the skills of the companies in schools.
Wow, that's really great. I love how, you've been able to translate this so well throughout your entire company. So now my next question is, what is your top client acquisition channel? Do you guys mainly focus on digital marketing, inbound, SEO and content, or is it a mix of everything?
Sure. So for very large companies, we usually do outreach. And it's an enterprise sale, a very long process, pretty political. You really need to show that you have the best product. And we now work on learning projects with companies like Nike, Luxottica, Amazon, JP Morgan Foundation, and many others. For smaller companies, we want to trigger inbound more and more. But outside Italy, we just started a few months ago, so it's still related a lot to outbound activities. I'm referring mainly to advertisement on LinkedIn and on Google search. And the new strategy we're pursuing in the last few months is focusing a lot on content marketing as an enabler for inbound. So we have launched a magazine which is called the WeSchool Stories, where we tell to companies the stories of the heroes that are making learning effective in the organizations. For example, how can TikTok help with internal training? How can we spread the culture of lateral thinking in a company? And so from a marketing perspective, the more you have potential clients and leads that see your content, that are engaged with your content, that share your content, the more you have the chance that they could become an inbound lead, maybe filling a form. So that's the general assumption we're working on.
Wow, that's really great. And I love how you're mainly using TikTok as well, because that's mainly what marketers are focusing on right now, with being able to leverage TikTok, for their marketing needs. And it's very popular right now, being used across different, variations as well. So I think that's really smart for what you're doing. Now, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about the website. So what would you say are the major strengths of the website, and what are areas of improvement for the website?
So for our website specifically, we definitely have space of improvement, showing more very specific use cases. But it's not just targeting the product based on the target or different target. Very vertical use case on how they use it. In general, I think we are in a new era for websites. So till a few years ago, there were still referring especially about small clients, not super digitally literate. There was still people that were waiting and expecting a deck of slides via email to decide if they want to buy or not. This era has finally ended. So websites in general are now I would say the only actual sell material that matters. So you create awareness on social medias or around or with emails, but then the website is the place that you look at to discover a product. And this is not just for super smart people, it's now really for everybody.
Amazing. That's really great. So now we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about you as a leader. So my first question is, so being that you're the CEO of the company, I'm assuming, you do different things every day, but what are the things that you mainly do on a day-to-day basis? What does an average day look like for you?
It's very stressful for sure. And the average day starts at 7 and that's midnight. And is a mix of able to deliver what you are scheduled to do. So maybe you have meetings, important meetings. Even more difficult is to save the time to do stuff that takes more hours. So the most difficult thing for sure is to allocate something that takes 1 hour or 2 hours. So you end up doing that in the weekend or after 10 p.m. But at the same time, a leader should be just one thing, a supporter. And so you are covered every 10 minutes by many questions on different tools, Slack, emails, and you need to help your colleagues. So it's like a never-ending battle between doing what you want to do and helping others, which is actually, I think, more important, because if you help others, then they can go ahead alone and you can accelerate because you're not just one. We're 70 people and we will grow soon.
No, I agree with you, especially, with being able to allocate, your time to other people and them being able to help you. It cultivates that team effort. And also it shows like, you're being a leader, you're able to show your team how to lead, and you're able to grow as a leader as well and to build that team effort altogether. So I think it's really great how you've been able to pinpoint, okay, this is where I know works for us as a team and where I can be able to allocate my time as necessary. So that's amazing. Now, with that being said, so what would you say is like the next plan for the next 6 months of where you want to focus your company,
Sure.
where you want to grow?
So we understood that the kind of learning that we want to push, so collaborative, so engaging, is not easy to be deployed by instructors. And so the paradox is that for a tool, for a technology, and for all the support that we give, the best way to support instructors to do that is to guide them with a technology that makes them using these new learning techniques and teaching techniques without knowing that. So it's like a guiding system that is so easy that you, for example, you create core-based learning, mixing synchronous and asynchronous live lesson, you assign projects works without knowing that the theory behind it. So for example, you're not a trainer, but we make you a trainer even just using our tool. So this, as you were saying at the beginning of this interview, makes potential anybody to be an instructor. And this involves, of course, pretty relevant product challenges. And the other I would mention is related to measurement. So there is a lot of buzz around how to measure learning. And if we manage to show the correlation between learning effectiveness and revenues, and we don't just rely on very, I think, stupid KPIs that have been used up to now, like the number of people that open a course, focusing more about what was the attention that they put in, this would really help us, not just us, but all the industry. So in general, one of the problems of education and in merit and effectiveness in education is that it's hard to measure. So if we dedicate more time to this and we create tools that can better measure effectiveness, we would make more revenue, and the entire industry would be more able to prove to the clients that it's not just a buzzword. If you invest in learning, things can change really.
That I agree with you. And I really love how you've been able to pinpoint the areas that are lacking within education and how to translate that in the sense of how can we be able to make this more accessible, but also being able to help those who want to learn, because I think the greatest thing is where, you never stop learning ever. You learn something new every day, and being able to get that back to, students.
And it will be more and more like that, more and more.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Till we will die, the very last day, we'll die learning something.
Yes, exactly. You summed it up perfectly.
So positive today, not joking.
Definitely. Everybody always needs that, always. So now that we're coming to the end of our show, I want to thank you so much for joining us and for sharing more about your company and what you guys do. And I also want to give you the last word overall. If anyone forgets about everything that we've talked about today, what is one thing that you want them to remember, not only about you as a marketer and a leader and CEO, but what else do you want them to remember of your company?
Sure. Every company should have a thesis, because if you dedicate your life in a very passionate way about something, you should have a thesis behind that. And what I would like people to remember, which is what we think, is that e-learning is not that super boring thing we have seen up to now. Another way to learn is possible. This is the what could make the difference, and we are working on that to be sure that you, your daughters and children will enjoy and find effective digital learning instead of just being in a super boring next platform.
No, I agree, definitely. I wish I had this tool when I was, in my primary, secondary studies. This would have been perfect.
But you just said that you learned, so you're still on time. No problem.
Yeah, which is true, definitely. But I think having this would have been able to open even more opportunities as well with learning, being able to really dive deep and being able to see, okay, what are other areas as for myself as someone who's learning, seeing other methods of, how I can be able to get better with learning in terms of like, whether it's like reading techniques or, with maybe like the way a professor teaches. So I think it's great that this tool is able to give that, to be able to help your market overall. So, all right. So once again, thank you so much. And for all of our listeners, check us out next week on PathMonk Presents.